Welcome to our seventh podcast of the Oklahoma Union's podcasts. We're doing this the day after our primary elections. We're not going to get too detailed on that, other than to say, we had pretty good results as far as local races go, and statewide state question, not so much, but. We may go more in depth with that. I may get our state Fed president at some future date to talk about the elections and the importance of that. And then, so anyway, that's in the works. Today, we're pleased to have our representative from the Southern Region AFL-CIO, who is our person. She covers Oklahoma, and I'm going to have her introduce herself because I'll always mess up her last name. And let her tell you about herself a little bit, and then we'll get into some stuff probably about our convention that we just got home from. So welcome to Oklahoma again. Glad to see you.
Good to see you too, and thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here. I'm Jessy De La Pascua. I am the Southern Region Field Representative for the National AFL-CIO. I cover Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So, of course, she was staff, so she was working her little legs off at that convention. But Bronte and I and Forrest Bennett and Isabella Rodriguez and Nancy Leonard and some people from Tulsa. I think we had pretty good representation at the convention, for change. I think that's the first time I've been to one of those where everybody's been to it. But there were some really good things that came out of that, and we just wanted to talk about it a little bit and kind of tell you what's in our future as far as the resolutions, especially. I will say that's probably, I've been to several of these national conventions, and that was probably my favorite one. I was surrounded by a bunch of young folks, and they were all energetic and doing stuff. Bronny was out and about networking her legs off, and it was, but they said the next one's 2031. I said, well, shoot, it's 2031. This is probably my last one, but there's still work to do, so I'm looking forward to it. So, what did you think about the convention?
Oh, I thought it was excellent. My colleagues and I worked really hard, and everyone at the AFL-CIO put in so much work into the convention. All of the affiliated unions put in a tremendous amount of work as well. I will mention our amazing expo hall, the Solidarity Commons. Were just jam-packed with booths, amazing swag, powerful stories, and micro trainings. It was excellent. And then I was staffing the event. I helped on the floor of the delegate hall, helping people find their seats, making sure that delegates knew where they were being sat. And we had some amazing speakers. Mm-hmm. I think we also got to witness the re-election of our President Liz Shuler and Secretary Treasurer Fred Redmond. That was very exciting. Mm-hmm. What did you think about it, Tim?
That was a good part of it. The one of the couple of things that moved me was the segment they did on the Minneapolis stuff. That was really moving. Then when they brought all the union folks that helped during that invasion, I'll call it, in Minneapolis, it was really strong, powerful stuff I heard from that. And there were some light moments, like they had a really nice reception at Minnesota Vikings football stadium, which was nice. And then I signed up and I went over and visited the area of Minneapolis where George Floyd was murdered by the police, and for me that was the most moving thing that I saw or went to. I learned some things that I didn't know previously about that situation and that community that community was how they reacted and what they're doing now to try to rebuild their community and stuff. Spent money. The T-shirt I'm wearing is, one of the street people there that had a truck full of shirts, and so I bought that. And then she, there's a little barbecue place there, local owned, that I got some barbecue at, took back to a hotel room for dinner that night. So anyway, overall, I thought it was one of the best ones that I'd been to, and I look forward in the future, people that get to go to these things, that they really learn stuff. And I was, so happy. Bronny brought. It reminded me 30 years ago when I used to go to those kind of things. I had a bag full of stuff and talked to everybody I could talk to, and she handled that really well, I thought, and brought back some good information for us as far as constituency groups and some other things that we'll be working on at the council. And yeah,
that's
I thought it was
great.
good.
Yeah, it is. The National Convention is such a good opportunity to meet people you never would have met before from all over the country. And Puerto Rico was in the house as well. So all over the country, continental United States and outside of that. I know for me, one of the biggest and most impactful experiences at the convention was hearing about everything that Minnesota has gone through over the past, not just year, but last couple of years, and how the labor movement there has responded, and how resilient the folks are there. I know there was also some folks that went and visited our union brother Alex Preddy, who passed earlier this year, was shot by ICE agents, and that was definitely an impactful and powerful part.
Yeah, that's so. Like I said, I've said it once already, but it was probably one of the better conventions that I'd been to, and hopefully that'll progress into the future. And the thing out of it is, we spent time discussing and resolutions and voting on those. There was just a couple I wanted us to kind of touch on, not to go too deep in the weeds on them, but just to kind of give you a feel for where we're headed in the future as far as the labor movement in Oklahoma and the nation. So which one of them we want to talk about first?
So I know one that's really going to impact our central labor councils and state federations and area labor federations is the Resolution 10. Which is titled, "And We Know How to Get It Done," because we do. So this resolution is building off of resolution from the previous convention in 2022, where we really focus on pouring in resources and pouring in attention to strengthening these labor bodies. Yeah. I know, and builds capacity, right? Which I know is the goal, right? The resource part of it always interests me, because sometimes I like to get a definition of what they mean by resources, because sometimes it's not money, it's other things, but right.
We'll be looking at that at the Labor Council to see what we can do to generate that. Maybe put it in some future solidarity grants, for the national, to try to be able to fund some of that. So,
and it's really a show of all of the delegates, unanimously voting that these bodies and our bodies are important and need that attention.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and that's an emphasis they've started. Well, they started like probably in the 90s. With the Union City stuff, and
right.
It's kind of progressed over the years into different things, and but it's always back to where the rubber meets the road, where you have the most contact with your rank and file members, and generally that's within the locals and the central labor councils. State feds are more of a lobbying body for the state, and, but the actual contact with our members, we have a closer relationship than
Right.
than they can. And I'm not blaming the state fit. That's just the structure that we have. So.
Yeah, central labor councils have that direct tie to the community, to the locals, and locals have that direct tie to their members. So folks are, able to really pay attention to what's happening locally. And a lot of the times, I've noticed that people are focused, especially politically, on national big ticket races, but what really impacts our day-to-day the most are things happening local, not just in politics, but also in the community.
Yeah.
So it's super important to really help strengthen that so that we can be that functioning body for our community.
All right. Our labor council has done a lot of work to build some community relationships, and we're trying to build on those through the. We'll have a Labor in the Pulpits program coming up where we try to put labor folks in a church to give a labor message over the Labor Day holiday, and we're also looking at a labor religion breakfast down the way. And I have been friends with and a union sister of Christine Bird, who is a pastor of a church here in Oklahoma City, and she's really helping me try to move that forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's an important resolution, and I'm looking forward to seeing the work that's being done around it. Yeah.
Yep, that's that, and so that was one.
Right. I think the other one that was really unique about this convention that we've never seen before is Resolution 7, which talks about the future. We want good jobs today and tomorrow. So among many other topics in this, part of our day-to-day right now is AI, right? This big topic of AI and how that's impacting our work. What was your takeaway from that resolution?
So it's made me have to rethink, because I had my own opinions about data centers and AI, but it's made me rethink of how we approach that, because we have local and international unions that support data centers. We have unions that oppose data centers, and somewhere in the middle there, we got to figure out how we can take care of the questions about data centers in the communities where they're trying to put them, and with our unions that don't support AI or the data centers, and figure out if there's a way we can work with that to still get the good paying jobs that are available with the data centers, and addressing the needs of the communities where they're trying to build those things. Because I live in Yukon, for instance, and they're trying to put a data center out there, and they've actually, the citizens there have actually done recall elections on city council members that have voted for that, and actually beat 2 of them. So they've kind of messed up their message in the data centers, and from the beginning. And in Yukon, water is the main thing, and then the power it takes to run those things. So that would have to be addressed on anything that I would be interested in supporting. If we could get enough of a understanding and stuff about, they're going to protect the water. You're not going to be paying more for your electric bill. It's not going to replace jobs that are already there in other call centers and type work like that. So
Yeah.
I'm really having to rethink how I feel about it.
Yeah, I hear that. So I originally am from Florida, and I, spoiler alert, don't live in Oklahoma, although I'm here quite a lot. And I moved from Florida to Virginia. And Virginia is one of the states where data centers has really transformed the landscape, especially in Northern Virginia. And that's where I lived. So now when I go back to visit, open fields are now data centers. Many of them, and they do generate and require a lot of energy and a lot of power. I think something this resolution does is attempt to bridge that understanding between, what the community wants and what's good for workers. And another thing it does when it relates to AI is it brings a first ever AI workers first agenda, right? So that includes, priorities of ours like protecting intellectual property and copyrights from, artists, writers, that their work is being used to train these generative AIs models. And then I think guardrails is another important priority, so that to protect us as workers from harmful, AI impacts in the workplace.
Yeah, we just got, I think labor movement needs to do a better job of not just working with the people that want to put in these data centers, but actually listen to the needs of the community that are affected by those.
Right.
And so we just got to do a better job at that. We probably haven't done that up to this point. So
Yeah, and it's a new realm, right? This is a new realm, and we're figuring out how to bridge that gap, and this is our first step, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. And it's just not about AI. It's about good jobs. Period.
Right.
We need to go after those, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how we can kind of mesh that AI stuff and what we're doing. And see if there's any even opportunity to talk to communities about it, because the way the data centers, at least in Oklahoma, have been coming in, they just come in with a club, and we're doing it, and they get city council, and then the citizens get upset, and there's no talking to them at that point. So hopefully we can get in on the ground floor and work with the communities and our unions to make sure things are going right. So anyway, anything else from the convention we want to talk about? Or
Yeah, I encourage folks to, a lot of the speakers' clips are on the AFL-CIO YouTube channel. So shameless plug, President of SAG-AFTRA, Sean Astin spoke, very powerful, and Dolores Huerta was guest speaker. So if you haven't seen it yet, I highly, strongly encourage you to go check those out.
Brooke Shields talk. I mean, if I could have got close to him, I'd have got a picture with him. But after they speak, they're usually going off somewhere where they don't get bothered. So
right.
But anyway, yeah. Sean was really good in my mind.
Yes.
His speech.
Brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah. His mother would be proud. But So, any final words you'd like to say to the folks out there?
Well, I know I really, really have enjoyed my time here in Oklahoma, and there are so many great people. Tim in the Central Oklahoma Labor Federation and Bronte behind the camera have just put such incredible work. And even, my mind goes to our political work. We started early, Labor 2026, by being here on the ground in support of State Question 832. And the work continues, right? We have to, through it all, we have to have hope, and we're going to fight for workers.
Yeah. I think one of the big catchphrases or chants that, when we vote, we win. I think they chanted that several times during the convention, and it's exactly right. If we can engage our members enough to vote this November, we're going to win. We're going to win some stuff.
Right.
But it's going to be up to all of us to make that happen. And I'm not saying that's going to be an easy task, but it's a needed task that we need to work on a little harder. So.
And in doing this voter engagement over the past weeks and months, we've found that Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. Our members care about working family issues, and that it resonates with them.
Yeah, and I think the whole point of the political plan this year is to bring up those issues and then tie them into where candidates in a race stand on those issues. So maybe it gives some of our members a better idea. And and straight party voting in Oklahoma is just terrible anyway. So, but maybe it'll get them to look down the battle a little closer and vote their conscience instead of just going there and picking a party and saying whoever's running is a Democrat or Republican. That's it. So we'll just have to see how that works out. The education part of that.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Right, and so our convention. For those of you that aren't aware, we have a convention right after primaries elections to discuss and make recommendations on candidates that we've screened and are sure that they're going to represent workers if they get elected. So we'll be voting on some things here in a couple of weeks, and I know Brian and I we've got a lot of work to do to get some of those candidates in to be screened and make our recommendations for that COPE convention. So that's coming up, and just so and just to be clear, we just don't pull these names out of an air because they're a Democrat or a Republican. We talk to these people, we get a clear understanding where they are on at least issues that we're concerned about. And when we make those recommendations, it's because we feel like they're the best ones to represent us at the Capitol or at the Oklahoma City Capitol or the national Washington D.C. So
right,
I'm kind of looking forward to this. We're we're gonna the Labor Council, we're gonna fire up our young worker program again, try to make that a better situation, and I'm hoping we can be successful with that because I'm 70 years old and looking for a way out. so, and I want to leave it in good hands.
Yeah.
I want to leave it in good hands. So if you're a young person in the labor movement or a college student and you're interested in unions, you should contact our office at 405-634-4030 with an interest in talking to us about how you can get more engaged in the work that we're doing.
And I fancy myself a young worker. I got my start at an allied organization with the AFL-CIO is called Working America, where we knock on doors and really educate folks on working family issues. Working America talks to non-union folks, right. And now when it's made such a difference, having that experience of talking to folks at the doors, and my conversations with young folks is that union trust is at an all-time high right now among young people, among more seasoned folks. We have an all-time high, and we have a really big chance here to make a big impact. People trust us, so who better to talk about these working family issues?
Right. I mean, we were talking before we started the podcast about a particular race here in Oklahoma, and there's a young woman of color that kind of came out of nowhere, but I'd been following her on her social media stuff, and I was going, there's got to be something here that I'm missing, and she actually collected the most votes statewide of any of our other primary candidates. So whatever she's doing, she knows what she's doing, and I don't know if I'd have done it that way, but it's working for her, and hopefully they're bringing out a group of voters that maybe wouldn't have wanted to, or cared to vote in the past. So,
like I said, we gotta keep our hope, have that renewed sense of energy, and here in the South, we keep on fighting. We're resilient and strong.
Yeah, I always joke around with some of the younger folks here in the office. I said I always pull out a Bob Seger song called "Little Victories,"
right?
And I play it often. I think I played it last night after the statewide vote. But,
right.
But once you start building on those little victories, they start turning into bigger victories, and hopefully we can get to that point in the future. So
I believe in us.
I do too. I always have. But so that's about it for our podcast today. I thank Jessy for taking the time to do that. She's always got a busy schedule. She's in Oklahoma, and we're in the future. We plan to have. We've got a young business manager of a construction trade that we'd like to get in here and talk to him about his life and what he sees as far as future labor movement. And then we'll probably bring Forrest back here pretty soon to talk about our plans for Labor 2026 and go into more detail on that. So we're on podcast, and it's anywhere you get your podcast, you can look, and we'll probably be on there. We're also doing a little video that'll show up on our YouTube channel and some of our social media stuff. So if you like what you're seeing, put some comments on the YouTube page at least. If you have something in mind or have some ideas, if you want to call our office again at 405-634-4030 with some suggestions, we'll sure take that under consideration for future podcasts. So with that, I hope you all have it. Oh, let me just say that hashtag OKCOLF on our social media will get you to Instagram and some of the other social media stuff. So appreciate your time. I hope I got something out of this, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.